feel like you're chosen of God, you want to hear this, right? So this should resonate with you, right? Because what I've learned is those who are chosen of God have very similar experiences. In the interest of your growth, right? And more so talking to the younger chosen ones, but I'm sure those of you who are older and still have not realized that many are called, but few are chosen, and you are one of the few that the Most High has chosen. So, my testimony is I did not want to be a problem for society, right? But not because I feared people or feared rejection or feared abandonment. I'm sure my emotions fear these things, but I have always, as an introvert, right? The type of introvert I most resonate with, and I've done all the research, is the INFJ, right? From the Myers Briggs 16 personality typology chart, right? The reason that is important is to give you some background on me, right? Because a lot of people, they see the extroverted character that I play in order to in order to be able to, you know, relate better to people and to get people to be able to better relate to me, right? But those people that are either hating, just being real, and or extremely gifted, talented, and anointed, which a lot of times are our haters. You see, haters to digress right quickly. Haters have a keen sense of picking you apart, right? Because they don't have the blinders on that they normally have for the people who they, you know, venerate, who they respect, right? When it comes to you, chosen one, they are critically trying to find something, you know, wrong with you so that they don't have to feel so bad for hating. And but I don't want to digress too much. What I want to say is a lot of people see through my extroverted character, but they don't realize that I'm simply striving to be who the Lord has called me to be, right? So they can tell there's some fear there, some trepidation, some discomfort there. That's because, you see, I never wanted the spotlight. I never wanted to be anybody's hero. I never wanted to be anybody's inspiration, right? Well, what I mean is, I wanted to sit down, right? Keep my head down, right? You know, keep my nose clean, right? And just be quiet and be a quote unquote good person in society. Ever since I was very young, I took notes on, being a man of color. I took notes on what society said they wanted and what society said we were doing wrong, right? And I said, I took this personally. I thought that everyone was doing this. It wasn't until I got older and I realized that a lot of people were just doing what they felt like they had to do to be considered good, but behind the scenes, people don't really strive to be that, is what I've discerned. But we all know God is real, right? Very much so. If you really study the real science, and I'm not going to turn into that type of video, the real science not only verifies and validates God, but it venerates him. And it tells us that if we don't believe in God, then we are insane, such as the law of biogenesis, which says all life must come from life. But this is not that video, right? Sentient life, right? But this is not that video. What this is me speaking to you, fellow chosen one, and saying, I know you don't want this, right? Because for one, you've noticed that they don't want this. They don't want real good, right? They don't want God. People want their perceptions and their perspectives because society has been driven insane by the enemy. Society has been given a false dichotomy, right? You got the religious people who want to, they want to exude a moral superiority, right? This is where they find their identity. This is where they find their comfort. This is where they find their peace, but not in God, right? They want to earn their way into heaven, though they won't say that, right? Because of, the insecurities that they have on what it means to be a quote unquote good person. And they find their peace in their good works, right? They find their identity in their good works, right? We have the other side, the left, and they just don't want to do anything that requires them to heal, to grow, to become better, because it's too painful for them. They have been made to feel like they are less than, a lot of time by, the religious community. They know that there is something vain, right? There's something immoral, even, by the way there's certain sects of the religious community, that is sects of the religious community, tries to treat them like they are less than human because they have certain struggles that even people in the religious community may even be dealing with, but they try to misjudge them, right? With this vapid sense of moral superiority that, is empty of God, is empty of his mercy, is empty of his compassion, it is empty of his grace, right? So chosen one, this video may be a modal mess. I just turned on the mic and decided to talk to you. But this is why the Lord needs you to stand up and speak up. You're right. People are going to judge you, or should I say misjudge you. They're going to say you're a narcissist. They're going to say you just want to be the hero, the alpha male and or female, right? You just want to be the leader. They're going to find every and anything wrong with you because of the sickness that is in their minds and their souls, that the enemy has propagated in today's society. He's polarized them to the right or to the left, but not so that they can walk the straight and narrow and see the truth. But you see it. You see it. And I know you don't want this. I know it's a lot of pain, trial, tribulation beyond articulation that you don't want to go through or deal with. You see these people are shallow and they're superficial, but you have to understand they are still God's people. A lot of them are asleep. A lot of them need that truth that he has placed within your soul. A lot of them need you to love God, love yourself, and love them enough to speak the truth, to deal with them not comprehending initially, and then to eventually lead them to the truth, the Lord Jesus, the Christ of Nazareth, right? You were not given all of those gifts, those talents, those anointings, right? You were not given that strength. You never needed to be the cool kid. You never needed to have the newest, freshest pair of shoes, right? You didn't need the name brand, right? You didn't need to go with the latest trend, right? The cool colloquial terminology. You didn't need any of that, right? You saw the toxicity within your culture. And I'm talking about all ethnicities, right? You saw that there was something wrong in what we celebrated and what we venerated while we claim to quote unquote love God, right? This is not to judge anyone. This is just pointing out some inconsistencies in what we believe to be our identity. And this is why we can misjudge those who the Lord is allowing to be a mirror and show us the darkness within our souls. This isn't meant for us to then try to get it right, but it is meant for us to see that we need healing, we need help, we need growth, we need Him. So, yes, fellow chosen one, I know that you don't want to be chosen. You would be more than happy to pass it on to someone else and naturally, just play backup, right? Be the sidekick or be out of it completely. Just playing whatever small part the Lord has for you to play. You see, that humility is exactly why the Lord has called you to the forefront, right? Just like with King David of Israel, he was an introvert. I believe he was an INFJ, right? No one respected him. No one even appreciated him, right? No one even thought him worthy to be in the same conversations as some of his more extroverted brothers. And yet and still, he was the one who the Lord chose. Because the whole time, see, he was instilling that individuation within inside of King David of Israel when he was just the psalmist, right? He was the poor shepherd boy, right? Who was out there in the wilderness with the Lord, fighting the lions and tigers and bears with his slingshot, learning to hear the voice of the Lord, not getting caught up in the trends, styles, not getting caught up in enculturation, right? Humble and meek, wanting to play his part. In fact, when he met the major challenge of Goliath, he was not going there to fight, even though they didn't respect him enough, right? Appreciate him enough, support him enough, right? To even take part in his endeavors in protecting the sheep. He was quick to support them, right? When they were doing the cool things, fighting the cool battles, right? Hanging out with the cool crowds, respected and venerated as great soldiers and mighty men of God's mighty army, right? He was simply out there to bring them lunch, right? Then he was going to go back to the field. But it was King David that the Lord wanted to become king by facing the opposition that the cool kids, the outspoken ones, the mighty men of God, right, of his army, right, that they couldn't handle. Because you see, they were too caught up in their titles. They were too validated by men, venerated by society, right? Those are the good guys over there. Not David. He's strange. He's weird, right? Corny, lame. He's quote unquote off, right? So they didn't want him. He didn't fit in, right? He was too busy quietly observing everything, But see, most introverts, right, especially, well, most introverts, I'm gonna keep it there. Most introverts, right, what people don't understand are not just over in the corner being quiet, thinking that we are better than anyone. Most introverts have just noticed that most people don't want to discuss what they want to discuss, right? We've discovered that people have their picks and their favorites, and we're fine with that. We just want to be left alone. We have determined that society does not want to hear what we have to say because we have learned that society, most people are stuck in their own forms of cognitive bias. Their perception has become their reality. It is what it is. So I'm not going to waste my time, my effort, or my energy trying to connect with that person or those people, right? We don't want to gossip about people. We don't want to slander people. We have looked at the nuances of people's lives, right? And we see that everybody is just trying to do whatever they can to make it and get by. We empathize with that. So if we can't pray for them, if we can't support them, we're going to at least stay out of their way. We have learned that God is real for real because we empathetically not only pick up on the vibrations of people, but the vibrations of animals, the vibration of life all around us. You see, right now, some of you probably finding me strange. And that's what I'm saying. That's exactly why we stay to ourselves, right? We don't want to participate in the hierarchies of society. We don't want to be your alpha male. We don't want to be your leader. We just want to be left alone, right? But we watch your alpha males and we watch your leaders and we see a lot of times that what they're doing is based on what they believe the people want them to do or who they believe the people want them to be. They're not truly saying, right, what needs to be said, what the people need to hear. They're not truly touching on all of the underlying motives behind the issues that they claim to want to fix, right? So, yeah, but we're going to stay out of the way. And those of us that are Christian are going to just pray. We're going to put it in the hands of the Lord. Or we're going to pray that He touch the hearts of those whom the Lord has chose to be the leader. And we watch as people seem not to notice, right, the vanity or the superficiality or the shallowness of that leader. They believe what they're saying, that they eat it up, I guess, as long as the person does not make them feel insecure. I've noticed people have a tendency to back you and support you as long as you don't hold up a mirror to their own sin, iniquity, and transgression. And it does not matter if you're not judging them. If they cannot find something wrong with you, I've noticed people will make everything wrong with you. And they will keep doing these little passive aggressive things to try to bring you out of character, to try to validate what they want other people and even themselves to believe about you. So yeah, introverts don't want no part of that. It is very draining to us. But when the Lord has called us to step up, I'm talking to you now, fellow introvert. He has called you to step up and speak out. You're going to be called a liar, a cheater, a deceiver. They're going to project all of the deepest, darkest sins, iniquities, and perceptions on you, right? You're meant to take all of that and overcome by the strength and grace of the Lord. Show them grace, pray over yourself, pray over them. You will be victorious. I'm praying your strength. Peace.
Hey, you can hear the truth or forbear it. I'm just here to tell it to you. Love you guys. Praying strength. Peace.